worst part is that rejection when like you get that email, that generated email that's like, sorry.
What are your thoughts on networking? I really love networking.
You would.
Welcome to Job Search Stories. I'm Jen, a career coach and your new go-to gal for all things career advice. And I'm just really excited to share some tips and strategies today.
And I'm Gina. I'm an expert at all things job seeker here at Indeed. And together we're going to help you navigate this crazy world of job searching and maybe help you get your next job.
Well, today we're going to be talking about how to make finding a job fun.
I mean, do you like the job search process?
I do, but it's kind of like the nature of what I do.
Yeah, unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion. Well, it's definitely much more fun to help other people find jobs than it is to actually be in a job search myself.
Yeah. So your answer is no.
I think it's like yes and no.
So you like helping other people through the job search process because that's your job. But when it's yourself,
I have a complicated relationship with job search, I guess.
Yeah.
There are definitely certain parts of the job search that I really like. And then certain parts like not getting a call back.
Yeah, I don't think it's
really difficult.
I don't think it's fun at all. Like, I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's fun. I think it's anxiety inducing. And also I'm just like, give me money. Like, that's like my whole thing. It's like, you have to prove yourself to these people who are just like, this is just a name on a resume, you know?
Love that point of view.
I don't like
Let's be a little positive. No, you bring your point of view.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's actually, it depends on what's motivating the job search, I think.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in a job search because I'm like really looking for a next role, but I also have the luxury of being in a job already, it's less stressful, right?
Like if you've been laid off, if you've been terminated or something like that, it's probably not fun because you feel like there's like a timeline and you feel like you're...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you when like the product that I worked on like was sunset during COVID and I was forced to lay off my team and like forced into a job search, that job search was not fun.
Because you're like, I thought everything was going great.
But then it's also like, oh, well, everybody is going through layoffs.
Yeah.
Where them jobs at?
Yeah, where them jobs at? Where them jobs at? Well, I feel like now that you're like where you are, you like your job, you're into it, like, do you feel like you enjoyed it in the past? Like, for examples like that, when you're like, oh, like everyone's laid off, I'm also laid off. Or like, do you feel like you like it more now? Thoughts?
Yeah, I have not been in a job search in a while.
Yeah.
Since then. Definitely since then. So that was 2.5 years ago, right? Definitely did not enjoy that then. There are parts that I do enjoy. I enjoy the self-reflection of a job search.
Yeah.
I think that's a part that people forget about.
Yeah.
Which is actually taking the time to kind of just sit back and think about what am I actually looking for? Like, what is this next step for me?
Yeah.
And what type of opportunities are going to get me there?
Yeah.
Something that actually like helps you identify the types of roles that you should actually be applying for and like really sussing out, okay, well, what do I actually like or dislike about what I'm doing now?
Well, like, that sounds like the good part, but like, what's the bad part?
What's
like,
the bad part?
What do you think is like not good or like not enjoyable about looking for a job?
Oh, maybe just the black hole, right? The applying for jobs, not hearing back.
Yeah.
Applying for lots of jobs and it being just really overwhelming. The part of job search feeling like a job itself.
I know this happened to me, like wanting to look for another job, but like not being motivated because it's a job, like to look for a job. And I already hate my job. So why am I going to start doing another job, which is looking for a job? Like,
do you know what one of the most common reasons is people don't want to start a job search?
You're going to tell me.
I'm going to enlighten you. They don't want to update their resume.
I agree.
There was a recent survey and 20% of the people that responded said they didn't want to start their job search because they actually just don't want to go through the process of updating that document. Yeah. It's a real barrier.
Yeah. Like even right now, if I had to think about updating my resume, I'm like, how do I keep this under one page? Like all these things where I'm just like, talking myself out of doing it. So I'm like, well, I'm going to stay at my job. Like, because I don't want to do that. And I get it.
Yeah. It's difficult. You got to like Pomodoro that process. You like the Pomodoro technique?
No.
Do you know what it is?
Yes.
And you still don't like it?
I'm not a productive person no matter what.
It's only 20 minutes.
There's no technique that's going to make me more productive.
You
personally.
only have to do the thing for 20 minutes and then you get a break.
I have ADHD. So
20 minutes is a big ask.
Yeah. Like you should see me at work. I'm literally like 5-minute tasks and then take a 20-minute break. Yeah.
Okay, so flip it.
Short bursts. Yeah.
I think it still works. It's inverted.
I get stuff done.
It's a new technique, I think.
Yeah. But I feel like even what you're saying, like that's probably why people hate looking for jobs like the most. Like don't want to update your resume. Don't want to put yourself out there. Because also like for me, I think the worst part is that rejection when like you think you're super qualified for a job. And then you get that email, that generated email that's like, sorry, you suck.
The worst part is when you get it like an hour after you applied.
You're like, oh, you really thought that quickly that I was not.
You reviewed my material and just ready to discard me right away. That feels good.
Yeah.
That feels real good.
Well, do you feel like there's like ways that people can like have a little bit more fun while looking for a job?
I think so. I mean, the things that I think are fun, I hope other people think are fun. You might think it's fun. You don't even know, but I'm going to tell you.
You're a career coach.
I'm a career coach. Okay. So there are actually 2 things that I think are fun to do during a job search. Yeah. And I think it's because it's all about self-reflection and people, you know, they like to do little things. So one, I would say taking some self-assessments.
Okay.
There are a lot of different ones out there. There's a lot of free ones out there. Mm-hmm. But if you can take a strengths assessment, sometimes it's just the exercise of finding out for yourself like what you're really good at. And more importantly, it's about finding the vocabulary to express to employers what your strengths are.
Yeah.
Anytime we can like roll in a quiz to something and you get an output where you learn a little bit more about yourself.
Like what character am I on my favorite show? That type of quiz. I think sometimes it helps you reflect. Good? I think so.
I've never taken one of those quizzes.
I take them all the time.
What did you learn about yourself from taking that quiz?
I was like, dang, I kind of hate this character, but I get it. We're similar.
You saw the good and the bad within yourself.
I think I was kind of like, I knew this is who I would be from this show. So but also like the person was like a career woman, was very like career oriented, was very like, she was just like the most successful friend in her friend group. And that's also me.
I love it.
Yeah.
Very successful. That's exactly how I would describe you.
Thank you.
Self-motivated. You're aspirational.
I do think that it's fun to like find out what you're good at. Because like if you don't know, you're not going to be motivated to look for a new job because you're like, oh, I'm not good at anything. Like,
yeah. Well, so there's kind of both sides, right? So there's the assessment in the sense of finding out what your strengths are and what you could be good at. Mm-hmm. But then there's the type of kind of self-reflection and work and exercise that you can do to identify what actually brings you joy.
Yeah.
So there's an exercise called 7 Stories where you actually pick 7 different kind of key points in your life where you felt like you did something, you accomplished something you were really proud of.
Okay.
And then kind of with each scenario, you dissect what were you doing, what like helped you feel, like what did you feel most proud about?
Yeah.
And then you actually look for trends and you see, okay, did I enjoy that I finished a project and worked really well with the team? Mm-hmm. You know, did I feel like this scenario, I got to be really creative.
Yeah.
Really looking for what were those things that will help you kind of shape what you might actually be enjoying in the next role.
Yeah, because I feel like that's like the step before actually applying even too, because I think a lot of people are just like, well, I'm just going to go, I'm going to search for jobs, I'm going to see if I'm qualified and just put in the application and pray and hope that I get the job. But I think like if you feel more empowered if you're like, oh, well, now I kind of know what my actual skills are. I know
what I actually like to do.
Yeah, because sometimes you're just like, well, this person is hiring, so I guess I should take it or whatever.
And there's a time and a place for it in job search, right? Mm-hmm. Like definitely when you're in a job search that's being motivated by being let go or experiencing a job loss, it's hard sometimes to like justify taking that time for self-reflection because you're like, I just need to get a new job.
You're like in survival mode. You're
Absolutely.
Like, I gotta figure it out quick.
I gotta do it, right? I've got bills coming up. Like I've got to do all of these things. But the thing about a job search is that it does not start when you start applying, right? It's actually starting way in advance when you're trying to do that self-reflection, because that is going to guide all of the decisions that you're going to make afterwards.
Well, I feel like not only is that like more fun, like I said, it's just like you're like empowered. Like you feel like good about yourself before going in, because I feel like if you're applying for jobs and you don't feel that great, you're probably not going to feel as confident to like go for that job that you may not think you're even qualified or anything like that.
Absolutely. You absolutely should. So there's a part of the job search process which a lot of people would say is not very fun.
Okay.
A lot of it's a hot topic, I would say. But I'm just curious to hear from you. What are your thoughts on networking? You're like, it makes me want to vomit.
Literally hate it. Like, I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's enjoyable.
No.
Like, I barely want to talk to people I know. So I'm like, I don't want to talk to people I don't know. Like, and also I've had like some really cringy, horrible networking like event situations. Like once I went to a networking event that ended up just being like a party. Like everybody was just partying. And I was like, I brought business cards. Like, so I just feel like
that sounds like a great networking event.
Well, was it going to help me get a job? No.
Well, okay. So actually, I think what you just said is really important to just kind of dig into a little bit more here, because I actually think this is why a lot of people don't like networking, right?
Me included.
You included is because, when we think about traditional networking, going to an event, it's very outcome oriented.
Yeah. Like
you go with the expectation that you're going to meet somebody, you're going to make that connection, and you're going to leave with leads, right?
Yes.
And so when that doesn't happen, then comes the disappointment.
Because sometimes it's like you leave and you're like, dang, like maybe I didn't talk to the right people. Like, because sometimes I'm like, am I supposed to be helping people? Or are they supposed to be helping me? Like, I just never know what to do.
Well, I really love networking.
You would.
I do. And I actually don't consider myself an extrovert.
Yeah.
I think that I'm somewhere in this happy medium.
Same.
I do love relationship building. I do love connecting people.
Yeah.
So I find value in just talking to people and learning about what they do and sharing what I do, because for me, the kind of outcome would be, oh, if I see an opportunity that you would be great for, I want to refer you for it.
And I guess like if people don't know the definition of networking, like that's what it is. Like literally what you just said, like building relationships, just like connecting with somebody. Like I've had some good networking experiences. Like I just met people who I'm like cool with now.
Yeah.
And that's nice too, like meeting people in the same field as you or the same industry as you, because making that connection could lead to your next opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these days of like roundtables or like meetups, I mean, they obviously still happen.
Yeah.
Professional conferences still happen.
Right.
And they are great opportunities to meet people in your industry, like you just said. But I think once you start to kind of shake off this expectation of or finding out what you're going to get from somebody else, that's when you can just focus and like give yourself a little bit of a pass to just meet people.
Yeah. Like I feel like maybe when I was like first starting out, it felt a little like transactional because I was like, I do need an opportunity. So maybe that's like what made me feel a little like bad about it, because I was like, oh, are these kind of people going to think I'm like needy? Which I was, because I needed a job. So I think that like now that I'm like a little more seasoned, I feel like it's still an opportunity, like you said, to just like meet people and kind of figure it out.
Okay. So in your dream scenario, what would be a way to make networking fun?
What would be a way to make networking fun? I think there need to be more icebreakers. Like, I think there need to be games.
You like a structured icebreaker?
Yes. I'm like but that's just like the type of person I am. Like I went to this networking event. One of my friends like has this organization, and they usually have like a holiday party type networking event. And they'll always have like a bingo card or something like that where they're like, meet somebody who does this or whatever. Like that's fun.
That is fun.
Yeah.
I get severe anxiety trying to think of 2 truths and a lie.
I'm a good liar, so I'm fine with that.
That one, just knowing that there's an icebreaker coming sets me into panic.
Like a spiral.
I don't like it. And I think it's because it feels so structured.
Well, that's the difference between you and me. So like, okay, where do you feel like networking has been most effective for you? Because there's like online networking where you reach out to people in your network, or there's like in-person networking, like those events, or there's like conferences where it's like you're around people who are in your industry. Like, what do you feel like was the most effective?
I'm like an in-person kind of person.
Yeah, I mean, I think
in-person interaction.
I think we're in a world where like more in-person opportunities are coming about. So I feel like in person, I think it works for people who are a little more like in the in-between or are extroverted, because it's like you probably shine in like the more social situations. But introverts, they got to put themselves out there online or something like that. So
yeah. Do you do a good informational interview? Are you a fan of those?
I've done like a couple. Like when I was working at certain companies, like I was saying, kind of like getting opportunities on different teams. So maybe because it's worked, you know what I mean? Like it's worked for me. So, but I have had some like informational interviews that like went so poorly because I was just like not prepared and just wasn't good. But I think it's—
You didn't have a list of questions?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Was that a foul? Like, was I supposed to have like so many questions prepared?
Let me borrow 20 minutes of your time for this very unguided conversation.
To just chat.
To chat about how you can help me in my career.
Yep. And that's probably how I started it. How can you help me in my career? So tell me what I could have done better. Give me the tips. Career coach me on
right now?
How to have a better informational interview.
Okay, so you definitely want to go in with questions, right?
Okay, yeah. So that was my first mistake.
Yeah. I mean, that was an area of opportunity.
Okay.
Definitely do some research on the person, right? Think about why you selected them. Are they in the role that you're interested in?
Yeah.
Are they working at the company you're interested in?
Yeah.
Look for a commonality, right? Look for that one thing you might be able to bring up to break the ice. You like an icebreaker to say, hey, I noticed this in your experience. Like, oh, I went to college there too. Or, oh, I worked with this person too. And then kind of start to ask questions about their career trajectory. What was their journey? How did they get here? What's it like working in that role or in that company, in that industry?
Yeah.
And like really use that type of information to kind of piggyback off of and express what your interests are.
Yeah.
So why is it beneficial for you to talk about them? And what's that information that you want them to leave knowing about you?
Yeah.
So again, when the opportunities come up, they're able to think, Gina would be great for that.
Yeah. You're smart. Because I was not smart in some instances when I've had informational interviews. But I feel like you live and you learn.
You live and you learn. How are you going to know if nobody tells you?
We're telling them.
We're telling
the people. So if anybody out there is like me and they're listening to this, like what tips can you give to people who just truly hate networking?
I would say just try to shake this idea of traditional networking, right? Like try to drop this expected outcome of you're going to leave with something really tangible.
Yeah.
And just look at it as an opportunity to build some relationships and make some connections. Again, it's like if you're telling people in a natural setting, like what your goals are and what you're good at or what you might be looking to do, that really kind of plants a seed to where as those opportunities come up, they reach out to you. I think everybody can really speak to getting a job on the hidden job market, which is really through a referral. Yeah. Right? Like there's so many stories out there about friends or colleagues reaching out to you. That's how I got my job at Indeed. I had a former colleague from UT reach out about a career coaching role. Nice. And they're like, yeah, I think you would be great. And so that's how I interviewed and made that transition over. Yeah. So I think there are a lot of successful stories like that. I mean, have you gotten a job through a referral? No. Just straight applications?
Well, I've like had like a recruiter reach out to me or something like that. Like that's literally how I got this job. So they found me, but no. Like every other job I applied and then I got it.
So many ways to find jobs.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like overall, like the internal like mobility, like moving to a new team was definitely through like relationship building and like someone being like, hey, like I'm looking for this person and the conversations I've had with you, I feel like you'd be super qualified and that I could easily like teach you how to do some of the things you may not know how to do. So I'll say yes.
I mean, I think another thing that you're kind of touching on is just recognizing that networking doesn't have to happen outside of the space of your current company. One activity that I would always recommend are skip level meetings. Really setting that time to meet with people that are above even your manager's level, like working within the same department and however, it fits best. Don't just throw time on their calendar.
Like ask, hey, I'd love to chat with you.
Look for office hours, whatever it would be, but definitely realize that you can network within your own company and just let other people know that you're open to do new things.
Yeah, I feel like that would probably help a lot of people. Overall, I think that like the job search process like could be easier. Like there could be a way to like kind of make this feel not so long and like drawn out. So I kind of wish that there were more hacks, and you probably have some. So how do you feel like you can kind of optimize the job search to make it a little easier?
For sure. So there are a couple of different things that I would recommend that are a potential, not necessarily solve, but they're a trick for different parts in your job search. So one is around just when to apply. So a lot of job opportunities actually get posted on Mondays because they usually have to be posted for one full business week. So even if they're being posted and they're looking for somebody internally, they still have the hiring practice of they actually have to post it publicly.
So like checking on Mondays.
Checking on Mondays, checking first thing, and making sure that if you see it, you have your application materials ready so that you can apply, so that you're one of the first people. So if you're using Indeed and you're searching on Mondays or even on Tuesdays, you can look for jobs that have been posted within the last 24 hours. So looking for recency. And that's a good question because I know a lot of people are worried when they're like, oh, this job's been posted for 30 days. How do I know that they're still hiring? And in those cases, they're usually for high volume, high turnover roles or evergreen roles where they're just consistently hiring. So you can definitely still apply for those. But if you're looking for jobs where you're thinking like, I want to get in ahead of anybody else. Looking early during the week or at the beginning of the week for sure.
Right. I mean, speaking of that, like if you're checking every Monday, like, and you're like, okay, Monday, I'm going to apply for like 5 jobs. Do you have to customize kind of like your resume for each company and each job that you're applying for?
There's a certain level of customization that you should do.
Right.
Now, if you're being really strategic about your job search, right, and I'm applying for these certain types of roles, you don't necessarily have to do a ton of rewriting. Right? Because you've already hopefully created a professional summary that's targeted towards a particular role or industry.
Right.
Now, you might have to change out a few of the skills that you mentioned right away, especially if within the job description for a particular role, they specifically mention required or preferred skills that you have that maybe another one didn't. So you can make those types of tweaks for sure, but you wouldn't necessarily be rewriting a resume for every single role that you're applying for.
Yeah, that makes sense because I feel like that's kind of like the toughest part. It's like you're like, I do want to apply to all 10 of these jobs, but like having to customize every single time is like...
It's a quick way to burn out.
Yeah, it's a time suck.
Yeah, I mean, that makes the job search process not fun.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this is like work.
Yeah.
Like I'm rewriting this thing for every single one and I'm supposed to apply to so many jobs to stay active.
Yeah. I feel that. I mean,
not having it.
You did mention like some cool things that Indeed has, like, showing you when the job was posted and stuff like that. But like, are there ways that you can really like find the right job for you on Indeed based off of like what you're looking for? Just like, what are the indicators on Indeed that you feel like helps people in that regard?
Sure. So Indeed actually has a few different features that I think are really helpful.
Okay. One
is filling out your job preferences on your profile. Because the nice thing about that is when you indicate what salary you're looking for, of course, location, job status. Are you looking for part-time, full-time? Are you looking for specific benefits? The more detailed you are within your profile, when you look for jobs in like the job SERP, it will actually flag when a job meets your qualifications.
Right.
When it meets all of the things that you've said that you want, which makes finding those roles a lot easier because they're like right there surfaced for you.
Okay.
Another feature that I think is just like really easy to use and turn on are just job alerts.
Right.
If you already know what job you're looking for, at least you know a role title, setting that job alert and adjusting whatever frequency you want it to have, if it's daily or weekly.
Yeah.
I just have those opportunities sent directly to your inbox. Like that's a great way to kind of take some of that search off of your shoulders.
Right. I mean, those are two things that can really like help people, especially when it comes to job alerts, is like kind of just like looking up the type of job you want and like reading different job descriptions on that job. Because I feel like that would save people a lot of time, because sometimes you think of a job that you want and you're like, this sounds like something I could do. And then you read the job description and you're like, oh, I'm not qualified for that. Like, I can't do that job.
Reading job descriptions is such a good thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps you in so many ways. It helps you refine your resume because you know what keywords you should be adding in there because they spell it out for you.
Yep.
And those qualifications and requirements are exactly what they're putting into their ATS as what they should be scanning for. So if you have them in there, congrats, you're now at the top of the stack.
Right.
Also helps you prepare for an interview.
Yeah.
You know exactly what experience you have that relates to what they're looking for.
Yeah. I don't look at job descriptions. So that's what has really...
Maybe you'll start though.
No, I'm kidding. I will. I think that you're opening my eyes to the fact that I need to read them more.
They're helpful. They're very, very helpful.
I mean, this is probably something that other people can relate to if they're like me. If they don't read job descriptions, like, what do you do if like you literally are like, dang, this is not the job for me after going through the interview process? Like, should you back out of the interview? Should you like, what should you do? Or do you just like stick it out to like, I don't know, just for fun or to like practice? Even if you're like, this isn't right for me.
Well, I mean, I guess the question really is like, how valuable is your time to you?
That's true.
You know, if you see value in sticking out through more rounds of interview for a job that you know you don't want.
Yeah.
You know, if you feel like, okay, maybe I'm transitioning into a new type of role.
Yeah.
So it'll be good for me to hear what types of questions they're asking about, you know, they're asking, what type of experience are they looking for?
Yeah.
Then it's definitely a learning opportunity. But if you know, look, this is not for me.
Yeah.
Interviews are hard.
Yeah.
Like, you should be preparing for every single one. They take 30 minutes to an hour a piece. You know, if you're not then, if like you don't see the value in it, you're not only wasting your time, you're wasting a recruiter's time, a hiring manager's time, you know? So it's just like, if you can't see that value in it, there's no shame in emailing a recruiter and just saying, hey, thanks so much. I've really appreciated the time. I've appreciated getting to know you and this company.
Yeah.
Just based off our last conversations, I can tell that it may not be a right fit for me, but really love to stay connected just in case some other roles open in the future.
Have you ever had to like be like, no, I don't want this job to somebody? Like literally what you just said. Have you ever had to do that after interviewing?
I haven't.
Yeah.
Have you?
I like went through the interview and I was like, oh my God, I love this job. And they were like, it's not paid. And I was like,
that's right.
I was young, so I just never emailed them back. Like, I ghosted them. So I never formally was like, no, thank you. Thank you for talking to me. So I was disrespectful and I disrespected that person's time. And I did not like say like, no, I don't want this job. I just never answered their emails.
You ghosted them.
My bad.
You ghosted them.
It's okay.
It happens. I mean, and speaking of job descriptions, they're so valuable, in fact, that we're actually going to be doing an episode coming up on how to decode job descriptions. So if you're interested, come back, stick around for that one.
Look out for that.
Okay. So I've spent a lot of time talking about how hard the job search is and how easy it is to find yourself in a place of burnout if you're not protective of your time.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not intentional about the types of roles that you're applying for.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a little bit of self-motivation to keep going and keep yourself applying. Do you have any good stories about a time in which your self-motivation paid off?
I like money. So that is my biggest motivator. Like, one thing that I really told myself as I started like real adulting like a couple years ago, because I think you have to get like a little bit in your 20s before you're like considered a real adult. And I was always like, no one's going to do it for me except me. You know, like like if I was ever discouraged and like unhappy at a job or like unhappy with something, I was always kind of like, well, why am I sitting here like upset as if like I'm not the person who's supposed to solve this for me? Like, yes, you can ask people for advice or whatever, but like I got you can't fill out my job applications for me. Like I actually have to do that myself. So.
You've got to be the change you want to see in the world.
Ooh. Quotable. I mean, you quoted that from someone else.
Yeah,
but,
that is not, those are not my words.
Yeah.
But I can live that philosophy. We can all live like that.
Be the change you want to see in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I think that like, yeah, when it's come to really anything that has to do with like how I want to like change my life or like something I'm unhappy with or like a situation I'm unhappy with, I'm like, well, I gotta change it. Like I have to be the person to change it. But
yeah. And I think one thing, like this came up from a story a coworker told us where they actually interviewed for a job.
Yeah.
Were rejected, just like immediately rejected.
Yeah.
Then reached out to the hiring manager and was like, wait a second, like,
gotta get what you want.
I'm interested, right?
Yeah.
Ended up getting hired from reaching out.
Wow.
I think that's like a really great story because I think sometimes we feel like if we're rejected within an interview process, like that's finality, right? Like that's it. But it just goes to show that like if you're proactive, you know, and take that extra step, they're not all going to be yeses, right? Yeah. But that one time when they are, like that could be a time that really matters.
Putting yourself out there is really great too, though, because I feel like there's been times where like a recruiter has reached out to me for like a specific role and I've literally reached back out to them and been like, I don't think that I would want to do this job that you're saying, but like if you know of any other jobs, like let me know. And like literally I remember having a conversation with a recruiter and they're like, yeah, like let me see your resume and I can like reach out to people and see if like they have a job that fits your skills. And I was like, yeah, like sometimes you just have to like put yourself out there in order to like get what you want. So
I love that. People do not utilize recruiters enough.
Yeah.
Recruiters are your friends. I know they don't seem like they would be.
No, I think recruiters are the best. Yeah, which we have another episode that we'll talk about like recruiters and all the things.
Dig into it.
But yeah, we don't have to do it now. But overall, I feel like, you know, the best way to like get what you want is to do it. So
absolutely.
That's my motivation tip.
What's your best way to reward yourself though? How do you celebrate?
Like job searching?
Yeah. How do you celebrate a job search win?
Sometimes you just do a little dance when you finish. Like you're like, yes, I did it. Or like, okay, so like when I was like in grad school, working full time, and then also I was like, okay, well, once I get this degree, I have to start looking for jobs that I want. I would literally like not watch TV like the entire week until I applied to like 5 jobs. And then I would like watch my favorite show because I was like, yeah, like, you know, everybody's always like, oh, you can take 30 minutes watching a show, but you can't like do this other thing.
Yeah.
Like, don't like people who say that.
Or like you could be learning a language.
But multitasking also exists. But for that specifically, I knew that I wanted a new job and I knew that I was like putting in so much work by like getting my master's and like working full time. So I was like, let me figure it out.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was rewarding, like doing something I like that I know is like for pleasure or like leisurely. Cause I mean, I'm glad I'm not like this now, but I was such a like go person. And I was just like, yeah, like can't be lazy. It's lazy to not be like working on a million things at once. But I think that I was like, oh, well, I need to reward myself with something.
Well, yeah, especially when you're in an active job search. And essentially when you are, like if that's all you're doing is job searching, if you're out of work and your job then becomes to find that next job, right? And so even when you're setting working hours for yourself, which is a good boundary to have, which is to say, okay, I'm only going to job search between this time and this time. Yeah. I'm only going to set a goal of sending out 5 applications today or whatever that number is for you.
Yeah.
Like allowing yourself some time to just take a break.
Yeah. And
not think about it. Right? Yeah. Like sometimes just the peace of mind is a little bit of a reward in itself.
Yeah. And I also think it's kind of like not beating yourself up about it too. Because I think like there's probably some people who are like, the grind never stops. Like I have to keep looking for a job and I can't like live my life until I get a job offer. Do you feel like you should just like, you know, not take it so seriously?
Yeah, it's like there's a time and place for it, right?
Like,
there's a time and place for it.
Seriously, because you need a job.
Absolutely. And it's weird. I mean, it's hard, right? Because sometimes if you give blanket advice like, oh, well, you know, just don't worry about it or take that break, like that comes from a place of privilege.
Yeah.
You know? Like if you already have a job and you're only passively job searching because you're looking to make more money or maybe you're
like it's not in
looking
survival
for a
mode.
new challenge. Right.
Yeah.
It's not a necessity. It's so easy to say like, oh, just take a break.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to find a job.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's hard.
Yeah.
Which is why when you have those moments where you're like, okay, I got a call. I'm going to get an interview.
Yeah.
Like even just shutting down for an hour. And yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
watching that show, just kind of turning the brain into a different mode can be really helpful.
Do you feel like you kind of like ever felt like you had to settle for like the first job that kind of like came your way and like you didn't feel as like, you know, like, oh, I really, really want this job and like I deserve this because I got this job. Do you feel like you were just like,
it's really interesting. So during COVID, when the product that I was working on sunset, had to let half my team go.
Yeah.
Had to find a new job for myself. The people that did stay, they all had to find new jobs.
Yeah.
And we had to interview like within the company.
Yeah.
So you're like job searching within this like confined space.
Like,
and if you
do I deserve this job?
if you didn't get an offer, it's like, okay, well, what do you do with you now?
Yeah.
So I actually interviewed for 3 different roles. I interviewed for a recruiting manager role, for a team lead role, which was very similar to the recruiting manager role, which is to lead a team of, they were called like hiring specialists. So similar, but kind of different. And then actually this marketing role that I'm on now. Which was totally different because I'd never sat in marketing before.
Yeah.
And it really was, in a sense, a little bit of a career change to go through because I wasn't going to be leading coaches anymore who were doing both scaled and one-on-one career coaching services. But I ended up getting an offer for all 3 jobs. So I had the luxury of being able to kind of sit back and say,
choose,
like, which role is going to help me get to where I want to be doing. You know, I've been in recruiting before, been in team management before. Like I could do these 2 other jobs and they would be very similar to what I was doing already. Or I could pivot into a new industry and apply my skills in a totally different way.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good that you had choices because
I took a leap of faith.
Proud of you.
And it landed me here with you, Gina.
And now we're chatting. So now it's that time to take some questions from a viewer. So Roberta says, I've been applying for jobs for a few weeks and it's very isolating. I can't talk to my coworkers about it because I don't want them to know I'm looking for a new job. I also feel awkward telling my friends and family that I'm applying because I don't want them checking up on my progress if I haven't gotten any interviews yet. How can I feel less alone while looking for a new job?
So I actually really love this question from Roberta because this is really the reason why I got into career coaching. From working with job seekers, I could really see that the job search is isolating. Yeah. It's easy to feel alone when you don't have an outlet of being able to talk to friends, family, coworkers, and especially when the job search gets hard and you're not getting the callbacks. You know, it's really easy to feel alone. So if you're in that situation, I would really recommend just checking out some different areas of social media. You can find different groups, local events, you know, something that's going on where there might be more people in your industry or just in your area who are going through the same type of, job search process that you're going through now. Yeah. And that gives you the opportunity to both commiserate, gives you the opportunity to share some tips and tricks. You can share who's hiring, and then also have some time to celebrate some wins and let people celebrate with you when something goes really well.
Also, I feel like if you're kind of afraid of your friends holding you accountable and your family holding you accountable, you might need someone to hold you accountable. You know what I mean? Let's be real. If you feel oh, my friends are going to keep checking up on me, maybe you need people to keep you motivated or need to find ways to keep yourself motivated. Because I don't think that's really fair to say they're going to check up on me. Maybe you need some checking up on.
Maybe you do. And sometimes you just need an anonymous online stranger to say, you did what?
Yeah.
You said what?
With who? When?
Maybe that's why. Yeah, maybe that's why. Yeah, definitely some benefit there.
Yeah. And also if you feel alone, just think a lot of people are doing it right now. A lot of people feel how you feel. And job searching can definitely be isolating if you're dang, like when is it gonna hit? When is it gonna stick? So it happens.
It happens. Take those breaks.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Job Search Stories. If you're in need of some more job search advice, feel free to send us a comment with a question or a topic you'd like us to cover in any future videos. And also just share your own job searching stories and advice. And if you found any of this advice helpful, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
There's like a fluffy on me, sorry.
Today, I think our question is going to be from Roberta.
Okay. Roberta, do I need to say the question again? Cool. And tomorrow we're going to make Jen do the outros and do the CTAs.
But I do the intros.
That is true. Okay, never mind. She does the super long intro. Okay. Never mind.